The global debt illusion. What if the global economy isn't actually stable, but just expertly disguised? What if the calm you see in markets, the confidence you hear from governments, and the reassurance repeated by economists are not signs of health, but symptoms of something far more fragile? Every major nation on Earth is drowning in debt. Trillions of dollars, euros, and yen circulate through a system that depends on borrowing more tomorrow to survive today. Yet instead of panic, we're told this is normal, sustainable, even necessary. So the real question isn't whether the system is broken. It's how we were convinced that a permanently indebted world equals stability. Because once you see the illusion, you realize modern finance isn't built on balance, it's built on belief. When debt stopped meaning failure for most of human history, debt was dangerous. Empires understood that borrowing too much weakened sovereignty. Kings knew excessive debt led to rebellion, currency collapse, or conquest. Debt had limits, and crossing them had consequences. But sometime in the last century, that understanding quietly disappeared. Today, debt isn't treated as a warning. It's treated as strategy. Governments borrow during recessions. They borrow during booms. They borrow during emergencies, and when there's no emergency at all. Debt is no longer a temporary measure. It's permanent infrastructure. What changed? The answer is simple but uncomfortable. Debt stopped being something you repay and became something you manage forever. Old debt is rolled into new debt. Interest is paid with additional borrowing. And as long as lenders believe repayment will continue, not finish, the system keeps going. This is how insolvency was rebranded as policy. The bicycle economy. The modern global economy behaves like a bicycle. As long as it keeps moving forward, it stays upright. But the moment it slows down, it falls. Debt is the pedaling force. Economic growth isn't optional anymore, it's mandatory. Consumption must increase, credit must expand, productivity must rise, or at least appear to rise. Even stagnation is dangerous, because stagnation threatens the ability to service debt. This is why recessions terrify policymakers more than inflation. A recession exposes the truth. The system only works when it grows. And when growth slows, debt becomes visible. So instead of allowing contraction, governments and central banks intervene. Not to fix the system, but to keep it moving. Central banks, the architects of stability illusion. Central banks are often described as neutral institutions. Independent, scientific, objective. In reality, they are the primary engineers of financial perception. When debt pressure rises, interest rates are lowered. When borrowing slows, liquidity is injected. When panic spreads, money is created digitally instantly at unimaginable scale. This process is often called stimulus. But stimulation implies healing. What it actually does is preserve appearance. New money doesn't flow evenly through the economy. It enters through banks, financial institutions, and asset markets first. Stocks rise. Real estate inflates. Bonds stabilize. Headlines celebrate recovery, but the underlying structure hasn't improved. Productivity doesn't suddenly surge. Wages don't magically catch up. Real purchasing power erodes quietly. People feel richer without becoming richer, and that feeling is everything. Because confidence, not solvency, what holds the system together? Inflation, the hidden debt solution. Inflation is often framed as a policy mistake, a temporary problem, a side effect of growth. In reality, inflation is one of the most efficient tools for managing impossible debt. When money loses value, debt shrinks in real terms. Governments repay obligations with weaker currency. Future promises become cheaper to fulfill. The burden shifts invisibly. No default is declared. No failure is admitted. No one is voted out for inflating away debt. Instead, savers lose purchasing power slowly. Workers struggle as wages lag behind costs. Cash becomes a liability rather than security. Inflation is a silent transfer of wealth from those who store value to those who owe value. It's politically safer than taxation, cleaner than default, and easier than reform, which is why it happens again and again. Why crises no longer end. Look at the last 20 years of economic history. The financial crisis never truly ended. It transformed into monetary easing. Monetary easing transformed into asset inflation. Asset inflation transformed into consumer inflation. Consumer inflation triggered rate hikes. Rate hikes triggered bailouts. Each phase is presented as a solution. Each solution creates the next instability. Why? Because the system cannot allow debt to contract. Debt contraction means defaults. Defaults mean bank failures. Bank failures mean political collapse. So instead of resetting the system, policymakers delay the reckoning. Again and again and again. Every delay makes the system larger. Every intervention increases dependence. Every rescue reinforces the illusion. Who benefits from permanent debt? This system is not equally harmful or equally beneficial. Those closest to money creation win. Governments fund promises without raising taxes. Banks earn interest on money created from credit. Corporations borrow cheaply to buy assets instead of investing in labor. Asset owners see wealth rise as prices inflate. Those farthest from money creation lose. Wages struggle to keep pace. Savings decay. Young generations enter adulthood priced out of housing and stability. Debt becomes survival, not leverage. This isn't an accident. It's incentive design. The system rewards leverage, speculation, and scale, not patience, saving, or stability. The psychological foundation of financier is the most important truth most people miss. Financial systems don't collapse when numbers fail. They collapse when belief fails. Money has value because people trust it. Debt works because people believe repayment will continue. Markets function because participants expect order tomorrow. Once that expectation cracks, math becomes irrelevant. History shows this pattern repeatedly. Empires debase currency long before collapse. Confidence fades before institutions fall. People sense instability before headlines admit it. Modern systems are more complex, but they're not immune. Confidence is fragile, and once lost, it cannot be printed. The illusion of choice. Most people believe they participate voluntarily in this system. That debt is optional. That alternatives exist. In reality, modern life is structured around credit. Housing, education, healthcare, and survival often require borrowing. Saving is punished by inflation. Risk is rewarded. Stability is penalized. This creates a population dependent on the system, not empowered by it. When everyone is indebted, rebellion becomes expensive. The endgame no one Nemesno system based on exponential debt lasts forever. That doesn't mean collapse arrives tomorrow. It means the system drifts toward reset. Resets come in many forms. Currency reform, financial repression, controlled inflation, structural defaults, political realignment. Does it look like chaos at first? More often, it looks like adjustment. But every reset redistributes power, and those who understand the system early are never the ones hurt the most. Final truth: endless debt does not create stability. It creates the appearance of stability by borrowing from the future, weakening the present, and demanding belief to survive. The most dangerous illusion in modern finance is not debt itself. It's the belief that this system can expand forever without consequence. Because when belief finally breaks, the system doesn't slowly unwind. It resets. And resets never ask permission. Call to action: if this video changed how you see money, power, or the future, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment "debt illusion" below. Because understanding the system is the first step toward not being crushed by it.